Hey guys, Justin here. Today I wanted to talk about a bit of a controversial topic. Shout out to Austin, but I wanted to talk about my take on iRacing and sim racing esports. Now, I talked about this a little bit in my controversial takes video, but I have a lot more that I want to talk about and also ideas for sim racing esports. Now, first off, I want to personally say that I am a huge fan of iRacing, NASCAR esports, whether it be the Coke series, the Contender series, or some other series that they throw on there. I watch a lot of those races and I enjoy them a lot. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that I am not a normal consumer when it comes to branching out into the esports scene. But even in the year 2023, sim racing esports has failed to reach any new heights in terms of viewership in pretty much any series except for maybe the Formula One esports series. And I'll talk about why I think they're a little more successful later, but I want to hyper focus first on what I know best, and that is the NASCAR esports series, or today the Coca Cola series. In 2022, the Coca-Cola series had an average viewership somewhere between 20 and 30,000 people per race on YouTube, and you can add a fraction of that at least from Twitch. And honestly, I've already lied a bit. Those numbers are up a decent percentage from 2021 itself, but in general, it's been kind of a flat line almost through the entire Peak and Coke series history, somewhere between in the realm of 10 to 20,000 views. But for the money being thrown around the organizations getting involved in the series, 20,000 or so views isn't going to pay the bills. In fact, they should just go and sponsor JD McHaley. Shout out to him. So, what's the issue? Well, to be honest with you, I don't even blame iRacing or any of the drivers or anybody involved. I think they're all doing a great job, and me personally, I love watching it. But I think that the problem comes from the idea of sim racing as an esport as a whole. In my opinion, there are two ways that an esport can be recognizable and popular to a broad spectrum of people. The first thing is to have just a game so large that the player base themselves make up a large percentage of people that can enjoy it. Think of League of Legends, for instance. But the other more important thing, in my opinion, that makes an esport popular with a broad amount of people is it providing something that you can't do in real life. You can't go around shooting people all day in 5v5 situations, so you watch CSGO or Valorant. You can't become a cartoon character and watch other cartoon characters fly off and beat each other up, so you watch Super Smash Bros. And you can't watch people fly around in rocket cars trying to shoot soccer balls and score goals in big arenas, so you watch Rocket League. The problem with sim racing esports is that you can watch people race in real life, and let's be honest, that's the more authentic viewing experience for racing. So because of that, I think sim racing as a genre is pigeonholed into only being able to cater to those people who love racing so much that they run out of real racing to watch, or people involved in the games or the sims in general. And iRacing is just not big enough of a game to generate a crowd to rival any of the major esports and potentially break through to a larger audience. I think an issue for NASCAR specifically is that the demographic of people who like to watch NASCAR and would want to watch more and more are probably older people who aren't really into esports in general. The NASCAR iRacing Invitationals of 2020 drew in a number of people that eclipses any of the actual pro races, one because it was on network television, but two because it contained familiar names and also was more accessible to other more normal NASCAR fans. So does that just mean there's no hope for sim racing esports? I don't think so. I think that there's a way that you can provide entertainment in the realm of sim racing that you can't get from regular real life racing, and I think that's by leveraging the entertainment that can be brought in a sim racing space that's just impossible in real life, and also leveraging content creation and content creators. Look at the 24-hour Le Mans sim race. I think a lot less people would have cared about that race if Max Verstappen didn't do it and Jimmy Broadbent didn't do it. I think that their audiences are almost eclipsing any regular sim racing esports audience. Because both Max and Jimmy, although they may be sim racers at heart, did not gain most of their following from sim racing. Max gained it obviously from F1 and Jimmy just from making great YouTube videos, but their audience did not come from them running sim racing esports races. By converting even a small portion of their audience to the sim racing esport, it made the event a much greater spectacle and ultimately a much greater failure. But I think it demonstrates the importance of being entertaining not only in your esport product, but ways outside of it. Going back to F1 esports, they're definitely getting more views per race, but also I think that's because they're posting that directly to the F1 channel, which just has a lot more people subscribed. If you take the percentage of people who watched the event to subscribed versus NASCAR's page versus the Coke series, it kind of evens out, but at the same time, more people are watching the F1 esports league. Why is that? The Codemasters F1 game isn't even considered the best F1 sim out there, so why is it getting more views? Well, it's because how good the game is doesn't really even matter. It's all about the output of entertainment of the product. I think part of it has to do with the production value that they put into it, and there's obviously a lot of money that goes into it, but at the same time, they have real bona fide content creators in their league that draw in an extra audience. Jarno Opmeer, in particular, leveraged his position in the F1 Esports League being the champion during the time when esports were kind of booming as a whole during the COVID lockdown. He leveraged that into being able to become a content creator, and in turn, he would draw extra people as he came along and grew in the content space and brought them back into the F1 League to watch him in his races. This formula, I believe, has been proven time and time again where people don't care as much about the trophy at the end of the series, but the people that are racing in the series, and I think that iRacing is lacking on that front in their series. So how do we take those ideas and bring them back into the NASCAR sphere for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola series? Well, the series is not lacking for personalities when you have people like Michael Cozy, who's a YouTuber with 30,000 subscribers, and then streamers like Derek Justice, Malik Ray, among others. But the problem is, none of them really go outside of the NASCAR gaming sphere, which is already a very small niche and probably already in tune with the Coca-Cola series. But I think overall, the Coca-Cola series puts too much emphasis on the actual racing product, which sounds weird at first. From a competition standpoint, you obviously want the racing to be number one, but from a viewing and an esports perspective, entertainment is always number one. I really like the direction that the Coke series is going in terms of the schedule, going to a couple weird tracks here or there like Monza and Milwaukee. But the Coke series can go crazy with it. They don't need to copy the identity of real-life NASCAR because they don't need to be real-life NASCAR. We could have stuff like field inversions after qualifying, maybe all-star qualifying at some point in this season. But I have one more idea that I think that iRacing could utilize tomorrow and would drastically increase their viewership. Until the Coca-Cola series has people that can truly outgrow the series without them, I think that iRacing should bring in like an all-star car for many of the races in the Coke series. Put Dale Jr. in a car at Daytona, put Ty Majeski in a car at a short track. Heck, I'm like 80% sure Max Verstappen would be happy to do a Coke series race at Talladega. I think the Coca-Cola series is too caught up in being a legitimate NASCAR series that can stand toe-to-toe with any of the real-life NASCAR series when they could be just as legitimate as all of them, but that's not going to get them the views at the end of the day. iRacing esports won't grow until iRacing itself grows, and it's already a niche enough of a game to begin with a high barrier of entry. I just don't see a way where the game could grow in a way where this level of Coca-Cola series racing would become appealing to a mass amount of people. So therefore, we have to focus on what can make it a standalone product that makes people interested without necessarily even wanting to play the game. I don't think it's going to be easy. In fact, I wouldn't want to be the person tasked with doing it, but that's just my 2 cents. But what do you guys think? Do you guys watch sim racing esports or NASCAR esports? And do you think there's a way that it can grow out of the current shell that it's in? Leave a comment below. Alright, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.